It sounds like the perfect party anthem. Pounding rhythm, a chorus you can shout back after just one listen, and energy built for the dance floor. But Dancing with Myself isn't really about celebration. It's about loneliness, alienation, and maybe even a sly wink at self-pleasure. Billy Idol turned it into a hit, but the story goes deeper than just a sneer and a fist pump. I'm Sean, and this is a closer listen. Before Dancing with Myself became Billy Idol's solo calling card, it started life with his old band Generation X. By 1980, Gen X were running out of steam. They'd ridden the first wave of UK punk, but never fully broke through, and creative tensions were pulling the group apart. Still, before splitting, Idol and bassist Tony James co-wrote a song inspired by a surreal night out in Japan, where they saw kids in nightclubs dancing with their reflections in mirrored walls. That image, joyous yet strangely lonely, became the spark for Dancing with Myself. The band, shortened now to Gen X, released the song in late 1980. It had the sneer, the drive, and all the punk meets pop energy they were known for, but it went largely unnoticed. Commercially, it fizzled. For most bands, that would have been the end of the story. But for Billy Idol, it was just the beginning of a reinvention. When Gen X collapsed, he didn't abandon the track. Instead, he took the track with him to New York, where he was chasing something bigger than cult punk notoriety. He wanted mainstream stardom. Partnering with producer Keith Forsey, Idol didn't re-record the song from scratch. He and Forsey reshaped it, peeling away some of the rough punk edges, tightening the arrangement, and boosting the rhythm section. The funny thing is, if you play the Gen X version next to Idol's solo release, the two sound almost identical on the surface. So much so that listeners can't tell them apart. The differences are subtle. The solo version is leaner, shorter, more focused, with its hooks pushed closer to the front. Small changes, but they were enough to tip the balance. What had been a forgotten punk single suddenly became a calling card for Idol's new identity. On the surface, Dancing with Myself sounds like an invitation to party, but once you actually focus on the lyrics, the mood shifts. This isn't a song about a packed dance floor. It's about being the only one left on it. The verses sketch out a world of fleeting connections, encounters that don't satisfy. And when every option falls short, Idol plants his flag in defiance. So let's dance with myself. What sounds like a celebration is actually a portrait of isolation, of alienation in the middle of a crowd. It's punk in its sneer, but also deeply relatable, that feeling of being surrounded by people and still completely alone. Of course, layered into all that is a cheeky wink at self-pleasure. Idol never said the song was about that, but with lines full of double entendres, it's simply impossible to miss. Idol leans into it with a smirk, blurring the line between loneliness and liberation. That tension between despair and empowerment, alienation and self-reliance, is what makes the song linger after the beat fades. If Dancing with Myself works as both a party anthem and a song about loneliness, it's because of the way it sounds. Right from the start, the rhythm section thuds with insistence, almost tribal in its pulse. It's the heartbeat of the track, and it doesn't let up. Keith Forsey's production emphasized that groove, stripping away clutter and making the song lean and aerodynamic, its punk energy refitted for a new wave world. Then comes the guitar riff, snappy like a whip, jagged, repetitive, almost mechanical. It drives forward with the relentlessness of punk, but polished enough to slide onto the dance floor. The Gen X version had all the bones of the music, but it was looser, rougher, and a bit too long. The solo version tightened everything to the point where each riff, each chant, hits like a jolt. It's proof that sometimes tiny shifts in arrangement can turn a good song into something unforgettable. Dancing with Myself didn't invent the fusion of punk and dance rock, but it captured that moment of transition in a way that was almost tailor-made for the early 80s, where many punk bands were fading into obscurity or splintering into niche subgenres. Idol was already aiming bigger. He took that punk sound and wired it into something that could thrive on MTV, on the radio, and on the dance floor. A rare crossover move that set him apart from his peers. The video drops Idol into a post-apocalyptic landscape, surrounded by what looks like zombies or radiation survivors crawling their way up the side of the building, with Idol on the roof easily handling the horde, all while dancing by himself. While the crowd around him is grotesque, Idol never flinches. He smirks, he sneers, he pumps his fist, and of course dances with himself. It's campy, chaotic, and it's unforgettable. This imagery did two things at once. First, it visualized the song's themes, the sense of being alone in a world full of empty and soulless figures. Second, it introduced Idol's persona to a global audience. The sneer, the peroxide spiked hair, the leather jacket, the mix of menace and charm. He wasn't just another new wave act. He looked and acted like a star. On MTV, that mattered. At a time when videos could make or break a career, Dancing with Myself positioned Idol as a bridge between punk credibility and pop spectacle. Even if the single didn't chart as high as his later hits like White Wedding or Rebel Yell, the video gave Idol visibility, and that turned into momentum. Some people say it's hard not to see the visual echoes of Sid Vicious and Billy Idol. The spiked hair, the leather, the sneer. Idol himself has acknowledged Sid as part of the punk world he was stepping into. He once said his persona and even his name were chosen in contrast to monikers like Rotten or Vicious. But while the look feels familiar, Idol also crafted it in his own way. The bleach job was a happy accident, and while some of his punk swagger drew from the scene around him, Idol combined it with his own style to create a persona that was entirely his own. While Dancing with Myself wasn't a massive chart topper upon its initial release, its influence has been far-reaching. The song has been featured in several films, TV shows, and commercials, underscoring its enduring appeal. These appearances have kept the song alive in popular culture, introducing it to new generations and ensuring its place in the pantheon of classic tracks. Beyond its media presence, Dancing with Myself has become a staple of Billy Idol's live performances. He frequently introduces the song by acknowledging its origins with Generation X, celebrating its evolution into a solo hit. This continuity highlights the song's lasting significance in his career. In 2025, Idol released Still Dancing, a track that pays homage to his early hit, reflecting on themes of independence and resilience. The song's release coincided with his announcement of a new album and a joint tour with Joan Jett, signaling his enduring relevance in the rock music scene. Dancing with Myself not only launched Billy Idol's solo persona, but also brought punk energy to MTV in a way that still resonates today. We've all danced alone at some point. When was the last time you danced by yourself? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe. It really helps others find the channel. And as always, be in the moment.